Hey everybody.
Hey.
Today we're going to be talking to you about getting residency. It's one of the most important things that people need to consider when they're moving to Mexico, right? Whether they should get it or not, but if you've decided that you need it, these are some of the basic steps you need to kind of follow to get your residency. So for those who don't remember, I'm Roddy.
I'm Landy.
And together with our son Louis, we moved to Queretaro, Mexico in 2020, and we share our lives as expats living abroad with a family. So one of the first things that you need to do when you consider getting residency is you have to set your appointment with a consulate in the U.S. Now, there's different places you can get it. Just to name a few, there's Houston, there's McAllen, Chicago, LA, St. Louis, different places all the U.S. Find the one closest to you. Now, the one thing I need to mention about that is that for some reason, different consulates will give you different requirements as far as what's needed. And that may come down to like the price you need to show or how much money you have saved or that you make per month or per year. It's kind of a weird system. Why it's like that, we don't really know. But we've heard that from many people, right? One consulate will say you need to earn this much. You go to a different consulate and they say, nope, you only have to earn this much.
Right.
But most importantly, make that appointment. Right? The second thing would be we feel, is hire an expert.
Yeah, I think it's better that they can wait in line for you, tell you what you need, double check all the documents. Yeah, if there's some issue with communication, they can call. Like we got some issues down the way. My man just go to the agency, talk to them. Of course, he charges a fee, but it's worth it. Yeah, he solved the issues for us.
Right. Again, in our opinion, we definitely think it's worth the money. And again, the prices can range depending on how much help you need, but we feel it's much safer to have someone who knows the system and can help you work the system and give you all the required documents and tell you what you need. Because if you're missing one thing, they will just tell you to come back, and that may be a whole other long wait, and they may give you one chance.
Yeah.
If you mess up again on the second chance, they're going to say, you know what, you need to make another appointment, and then you got to go through the whole system again. So it's definitely worth the money to pay to have an expert help you. And like Gladys said, they have all the documents that you need to have prepared and ready to go. So get an expert.
Yeah, like my friend, when she went to the consulate, she said she didn't hire any agent work for her. So she was waiting in the line for maybe 6 hours in the sun. She didn't expect that, but that's how it is. Yeah, so this money I just pay for the agent.
Now, once you set your appointment with the consulate and you've talked to an expert, one of the main things you're going to have to do is prove that you can support yourself living in Mexico. Now, there's a few different ways you can do that.
Right.
One of the ways is you have a job from a company in Mexico, and now you have to get a letter from that company saying you're working with them, how much you're making. But again, that's actually one of the easier ways because the company will provide you with all the information you need, and they may even have somebody who works for the company help you. But that's one way. Another way you can do it is if you're retired, you can actually use your pension and your retirement funds as a way to prove solvency. So again, that's great. Now, if you don't have either of those things, like us, it was a little bit different. And this is where we actually ran into a little bit of an issue, was because we were told, you only had to make like maybe $1,000 or $2,000 a month as an individual to prove solvency. So we took
that was the first agent we worked for.
Right.
I have to mention, sometimes you go to Facebook expat group, people recommend someone for you. We got very disappointed.
Yeah, and I'll speak on that. I was a little bit disappointed as well because this person comes very well recommended. I've heard they do great things for people, and they've worked very well. I don't know if there was just miscommunication, but we felt we explained ourselves very clearly. So we were a little bit upset about that because we took our documents, that she mentioned was show a couple of $1,000s, which for us, okay, that was no big deal. We took them there. To the consulate, we showed them our statements, and they said, no, that's not what you need. You have to have something like $30,000 or $35,000 in your accounts for a whole entire year, which that's a big difference for a lot of people, right? And that came as quite a shock. So that
she never mentioned that.
Never mentioned
it. This is the one of the top condition.
Right. We made it very clear that we don't work for anybody. That while we are kind of considered retired, we're not retired in a traditional sense. We're not in our 60s. We don't have a pension. We made that very clear, and so we were still given the wrong information.
Well, how she explained that after you told her that's the new condition, why you didn't tell us?
I think she just said she misunderstood, or she had to go do some more research, or she made it like, oh yeah, you have to show this much money, but why it was so clear the second time, I don't know. But moving on.
Okay.
So if you're not retired, you don't work for a company, you need to
Right.
show. At that time, it was about 30 or 35,000 a month. I know now it has gone up, and it keeps going up every single year. You have to show money in your bank for an entire year,
Right.
probably $45,000 by now.
We were lucky that time. That was still end of the 2021.
Right. So we had a lot of money from our real estate portfolio that we were able to kind of show. So we lucked out, and actually, even for a couple of months, we were just a little bit short. Not much. We're talking maybe a couple $100 short, and they still went ahead and went forward with the temporary residence. So we lucked out in that sense. Now we did have some other funds, because we are landlords. Some of our tenants paid us in things like Cash App or PayPal, and so we figured, hey, that's money that comes in every month. We can use that to make sure we go over the amount, to make sure we're covered. When we took in those documents, they didn't accept them. Right? They only took our bank statements, and they said pretty much because the printouts you take from things like PayPal or Cash App, again, they're not really official. There's nothing to document them as an official transcript from that company. So again,
Well, that time our money is not our money anymore.
right.
You have 5K, 10K there, they don't count it.
Right.
So-
And even though you can show it every month, they just don't take that document as an official document.
Yeah.
So another thing.
But
to
you were
consider.
lucky that time you have the one small investment account. That would count.
Right. I did have an investment account that I could prove, and it had
Yeah.
some ID on it that they could use
That would
as
save
proof.
you.
Right. So I think that did help us.
Yeah, his pocket money now. But that works.
Right, that worked. Now, once you go to the consulate and they do approve you for your temporary residence, they'll give you a temporary residence permit. Once you get that permit, you come to Mexico, right? Once you land in Mexico, and this is an important part, you have 30 days to get to the INM, right, which is immigration authority, to set up your appointment. You have to do it within 30 days of landing, right? Or again, if you don't, they're probably going to make you start the whole process again. So once you land, one of the first few days you get kind of settled in, get to immigration, right? And again, this is where an expert can help you kind of set up your appointment, especially right now in a lot of places in Mexico. Their online system is completely messed up or don't have one. So this is where an expert can help you to set up that appointment.
And did we mention that because I got mine and we got his through you?
Right.
So for married couple, family, so only the husband can apply for it.
Right.
That's another easier way. So I don't have to rely on myself.
Right.
So I didn't go for any interview.
Right. And that's true. And I was going to mention that, but as she mentioned, you can do it one of two ways. If we have enough money to each of us prove our solvency, that would have been fine. But because we didn't, because if it was like me, let's say it was 35,000. Well, then if you have a spouse or a child, then the money goes up, and then you have to have like 45 or 50, per person. It goes up incrementally. But the person who helped us mentioned the one way that we could do it and kind of avoid it, it's kind of like a loophole, was attach Landy and Louie to my residency, which makes it a lot easier in a sense, because to prove that, then you have to get a lot of other documents, such as you have to get your marriage certificate and birth certificate. You have to get the originals. Then you also have to get them apostilled, which you have to take them usually to your state capital or your local state government area, and you have to go into the particular office, maybe the Secretary of State, and get them officially stamped that they're apostilled. Once you get that, then you got to bring them to Mexico, right? And you have to get them translated and officially translated. So there's a little bit more steps. So it does help in the sense that you don't have to have as much money, but it does create a few more steps. And for us, once we found that out, we literally had to come back to the United States. Luckily, it was around the time of last Christmas, I believe.
Yeah.
Which was in McAllen, but then we had to drive to Houston to get our birth certificates and marriage certificates, and then we had to go to Austin to get everything apostilled. So,
I know it was closed during the Christmas time.
Oh yeah, the first day we went, they were closed,
gosh.
but the second day they were open,
Yeah,
and
they're
we were
open.
able to get it. So that just caused a lot of different, obstacles, but we were able to overcome it.
Yeah.
So once you get that, once you set up your appointment, all the rest of it is fairly straightforward and simple. Again, once your appointment, you go in, you take all your documents to the office. For the first time when I went, it was pretty easy. Just go, set it up, boom, 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 give them documents. I went before they were able to print out the green card right then and there. Now you can go in, if you have all your documents, you come back later that day and they have the card ready for you, which is what happened with Landy and Louie. I went in for Landy, we went in together, showed them all our documents, and then she was able to go back later that day and pick up her card that same day. And the same thing for Louie. So I think these are things you need to consider. Again, this is not an extremely detailed account of what needs. There may be some things missing. Again, this is why you should talk to an expert, but this will definitely send you in the right direction and know what to expect. And remember, nothing in Mexico is quick and fast. So when you go to the immigration office, expect to sit there and wait.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're not going to let you use your phone. Again, you may see people using their phone here and there, but they will come around and tell you to put your phone away. So take a book, have some stuff prepared to do, because you're going to be there a while.
Yeah, I think when the time I was there, I was, a little bit frustrated because they were telling Rod to pay in the morning. You have to go to the bank to pay it, right? So that was only like 20 minutes. I was going in by myself, and the Rod went to the bank.
Right, and I had to show the proof, the receipt.
Right.
But now they take cards.
Okay, yeah.
Queretaro,
So
right?
this was a crazy morning, like time, and it's a rush hour. I was waiting the line. He had to go to the bank. Good, you made it.
Right, but so I just got my 3-year residency. I just went back. Maybe some of you saw that video. I was able to pay there at the immigration now. They take debits and credit cards.
Right.
So much easier.
And for our marriage certificate, we thought that one was the original, but they said no, that's not the original. That was the translated one with the puzzle, but they want to see the original paper. So don't forget that paper.
And copies.
And the copies, a lot of copies.
Yes.
But they can have copies downstairs. So if you forgot some with your agent, they can help you to print everything out. You need a lot of copies. Oh, and a photo, right? Some photo. Yeah, they took a photo.
For you need it, but now you don't need it.
Right, yeah.
Now they take the picture also there at the office.
Yeah, right at the office.
Right. So again, be prepared to have patience.
Yeah.
Be prepared to be frustrated. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But again, it's a slow process, but it's definitely worth it in the end to get your residency.
Yeah. I think for people, if they like Gina and Mark, they went to for an interview was in the United States. Then they got to the Mexico. They directly go to the
you have
office.
to. Yeah, you have to remember. That's, as I mentioned, you have to do everything in the consulate first. That's where you do your interview and show your proof of solvency in the U.S. Then you go to Mexico to get the actual card, turn in all your paperwork.
Yeah. For some people, maybe they're not sure. Are they going to apply for residence card? Are they going to settle down in Mexico for years? They just go with the travel visa first.
Right.
So that's another thing. You just try to see how you like the country first. Then you still have to go back to the States.
Right. But be prepared. Again, the most you can get is 180 days. But that's not guaranteed. There was a time about a year ago where that was very uncertain. I think they're getting a little bit more less strict now again. But there's no guarantee. You can go in and expect to be there 3, 4, 5 months, and they might only give you a couple of weeks, just depending on the agent. The agent can be in a mood and say, "Nah, 2 weeks," right? And it definitely helps to have proof of where you're staying. I know a lot of times people like to have the little freedom of I'm traveling here, and then I want to go here and maybe stay here a week or 2 or 3, and then go somewhere else. So again, depending on the agent, they may not think that's good enough. They may think you're trying to use the system, and they might say, "Nope. You only get 2, 3 weeks. Oh, but my airline ticket is for 5 months from now. Nope, sorry."
Yeah.
So that's kind of the one downside to not having a residency.
Especially in those popular destinations like Cancun, we heard bad stories.
Mexico City.
Mexico City. Yeah, they just don't want people abuse the tourist visa.
Right.
Stay for 6 months, go and come back another 6 months. Yeah.
Well, we hope this was valuable information. We hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please subscribe. We really appreciate it if you do. And leave any comments. Some things I left out, some questions you may have about getting your residency. We're here to help. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.